Not too much tech news this week. What I can say is custom Radeon RX 5700 cards. Those are supposed to be coming out next month in August and September. If you don't already have one, you should probably wait for those because the blower style coolers on the ones that are available now, they kind of suck. Okay, those kind of cards, they're for early adopters, reviewers, and modders. So that's for most people. You want the open air coolers that are going to be like on the partner boards that are going to come later. So those, and usually they have better clock speeds on them too, and they might cost a little bit more. They might cost an extra 10-20 bucks, but some of them are going to be the same price as the reference models that are out right now, and they're going to be quieter too. Quieter, probably higher clock speeds. You want to get one of those. Usually they have like 2 fans, maybe 3 fans. Just make sure you have clearance in your case so it'll fit. Okay.
The one of the ones that we do know is coming is the AsRock Challenger, which does actually have a increased clock speed of about 50 megahertz, I believe it said, right? For the XT version.
I think there was probably a 50 megahertz bump on both of them. From what we saw of those clock speeds, you would almost certainly be getting like a $15-20 premium on one of those. The thing is, when I say 15-20 bucks, usually when I really pay attention to graphics cards, it's the ones that are around they're the ones that are around 200 bucks more or less. And if these cards, they're like 350 and 400 normally, so actually the overclocked cards like the Challenger, it might be more like 30 bucks, 30 bucks difference potentially. You know, it could be cooler, could also have they're going to have better clock speeds, and they're going to be quieter probably still too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's good about when the third party models, when those really start coming out, you get a lot of diversity in what's available. That's really good. Some of them are going to look good, but they might have some issues with the coolers. There might be something called coil whine, when it just sounds like your card is like screeching when it ramps up. That's something you want to avoid
Yeah.
That
having.
doesn't sound good.
That
No, it's
no, and it sounds even worse when it happens to you.
yeah. If you get a card that has coil whine, you might want to like return it and get something else from a different model. You should check reviews to see if anybody's complaining about coil whine. Hopefully, it's not some troll just trying to shit post and sabotage the damn product. But
It makes me think of,
Always make sure you check to see if they're a verified purchaser.
did you guys see Harry Potter? You know the like little plant things when you pull them up and they start screaming?
The
What are they
mandrakes,
called?
yeah.
A mandrake.
But yeah, so
yeah, so just wait for the open air cooler ones. Don't get a blower. Wait for those. Look for ones that have like 2 fans. Those are usually better. They can dissipate more air while being quieter.
And when you're checking reviews, always make sure to check for that verified purchaser thing if you're browsing on Amazon.
Oh, here's a big difference between blowers and open air ones. A lot of default settings on open air coolers for graphics cards, a lot of them, the fans don't even spin unless you're actually gaming with them. Unless they're actually like, they have to go past
Underload.
Yeah, underload. They have to go past like 50, 60 degrees Celsius before they actually kick in the fans. And that just leads to a quieter case, and everyone's happy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But the blowers, they're always going. Like, they're always going. And then when underload, they like really go. They're just blowing heat out of the back of the case, while an open air one, it's dissipating heat like inside the case, which doesn't sound good, but it's still quieter. And you probably don't have 2 graphics cards, or as long as it's not like a confined area, you won't have heating issues with a open air cooler.
On the bright side, if you get a blower card, you won't need to buy a hairdryer.
You gotta stick your head behind your computer, and hopefully it won't be suicide.
Oh, God, let's not.
Hopefully nothing goes wrong.
That's what I say.
Just try not to drip on the computer, okay?
Oh, God.
Okay, Google's Project Dragonfly terminated in China. So Google is trying to make a browser for China. Remember, China's got over 1 billion people, so that's a big market. And Google decided we do not want to comply with the censorship that China would be instituting here. Okay.
Censorship and apparently surveillance, too.
Censorship and surveillance. Frickin' China. Okay. Okay. Google's prototype Chinese search engine had previously been labeled disturbing by one former employee. Dragonfly had attracted criticism as a potential means through which Chinese authorities could censor web content and monitor citizens' behavior online. In late 2018, Google seemed reluctant to confirm that development of the search engine had been completely stopped, despite growing pressure on the firm. Work on Dragonfly at that point was limited. Chief Executive Sundar Pichai told the U.S. House Judiciary Committee in December, according to documents obtained by investigative news site The Intercept, Dragonfly was launched as a company project in the spring of 2017. The documents also suggested that Google engineers were at one point working on ways to filter out websites, including BBC and Wikipedia, from search results based on Chinese censorship rules. So, that's kind of a litmus test for me, is if you're censoring Wikipedia, fuck you. Just that's just bad. Trying to censor Wikipedia is one of the best things. I think YouTube, Netflix, and Wikipedia are like 3 of the best things to happen to the internet, like the last 20 years, the last 15 years, whatever, since 2005, let's say. So they just dropped out. They didn't want to work with this. They didn't want to enable Chinese. It's if that project had kept going, it wouldn't have been good for Google. There would have been like protests against it, and I think they probably turned down a good chunk of money by not going through with that. But it some of that shit, it might have leaked. It could have leaked like outside of the Chinese project, and they just didn't want anything to do with that. Okay, so anything to add on that?
No.
Nah, not really. Basically, they shouldn't have done it in the first place, and they're backtracking now.
We all make mistakes.
Okay, so let me go to the next one. So AMD admits its Radeon RX 5700 series price cuts were a trap for NVIDIA. So
They're screwing with them now. I love it.
So at E3, they put out their price points. They said the RX 5700 was going to be $380, and the 5700 XT was going to be $450. And then about 10 days before 7/7, which was like July 7th, that was like AMD's D-Day, where they were just going to hit the market. They were just big PR, good publicity that whole week from their graphics line and their CPU line, and they just ruled that whole week after the 4th. 10 days before that, NVIDIA drops Super, their RTX Super cards, which kind of made the AMD, the new AMD cards, not look so good at their price point, But then, just a couple days after the 4th, they reassessed the prices. They Yeah, they made price cuts before the cards were actually released, and that dramatically increased the price to performance, especially when compared to the super cards. And they're saying that it was planned. They did it on purpose.
They laid a trap for Nvidia, and they fell for it hook, line, and stinker.
Stinker? Hook,
Yes,
line, and
I said.
Okay, so it appears AMD put out original prices for its GPUs, then waited to see how NVIDIA priced its new graphics cards. Okay, this is a quote from somebody working at AMD. Then we made the appropriate move, not only to deposition their Super Series, but also to logjam their 2060 and 2070, because we knew that they're having slower success. Yeah, the 2060 and 2070s, they're not doing so well. People that are buying like the RTX cards, they tend to be people that are willing to spend, $500 or more.
Spend the money, get the like 2080s and stuff like that.
Get people that are spending the RTX cards that are selling the most. Apparently, it's the ones that are the most expensive, because just people that are willing to pay that RTX premium price, they're going to buy those. And people that want better value, they're looking at AMD. Okay, so the 2016, 2070, I guess they're not selling as well as they should be. Okay, so and we wanted to do a double bluff, which was not only to block their super strategy, but also slow down their 2060 and 2070. If AMD really did use price cuts as a trap for NVIDIA, it's pretty sneaky. AMD has always been,
I love it,
quite competitive when it comes to price compared to NVIDIA, but it's remarkable to hear about such a strategy from a senior staff member. This was Herkelman who was saying this. Regardless, it's enjoyable to see the two competitors fight over their custom. Regardless, it's enjoyable to see the two competitors fight over our. Whoever wrote this, that doesn't make any sense. Our. Okay, let me read this last part. AMD certainly seems to be enjoying it. It's been so much fun these last couple of weeks just playing that out. So yeah, AMD, they're gloating about their pricing scheme. Okay, and we're all benefiting from it. That's all from Tech News this week.
It's also worth noting that we're seeing two different sides here as well post launch of these new cards. The price of AMD's other cards have started to go down, like the RX 590, which just launched earlier this year, has seen price cuts since the launch of the new RX cards.
Meanwhile, actually, I looked into the 590. I don't really remember. I thought it came out earlier, like in January. Apparently, I think it might have actually come out in like last November. Okay,
really,
but it was still like the end of the year. It's very wishy-washy, but pretty much, I just remember when it came out, it was way overpriced. It was like $280, $270.
Either way, the card's less than a year old, and it's seeing price cuts due to the new cards.
On Prime Day, there are ones going for $180.
Yeah.
And they come with 3 months of Game Pass for PC, which right now I think is like $5 value per month. That's the $5 value of Game Pass. That's what they're pricing it as. It's going to probably go up to $10 eventually, but for now it's just $5.
Meanwhile, on the other side of things, NVIDIA's prices are holding strong. There's no sign of a price cut, really, on their regular RTX 2060 or 2070, or their 1600 series either. It doesn't look like we're going to be seeing price cuts, at least not right away, to any of those cards.
They